Hey guys, I'm Chris Cucoch from Royal LePage Signature, and this is your Mississauga market update for January 2020. Hey guys, and welcome back to By the Numbers. I'm your host, numbers guy Chris Cucoch. Today I'm going to go quickly through the numbers, a little bit more quickly than usual, and then I'm going to give you 6 bold predictions for what's going to happen in 2020 in the real estate market. Let's get right into the stats. In December, we had about 4,400 sales across the Toronto Real Estate Board, which is up about 17% from last year. But the really interesting number is the number of listings on the market, which is down 35%. So when you combine that with the 17% that we're up in sales, plus the 35% that we're down in listings, we've got a huge gap of about 52%, which is absolutely insane, a difference from last year. With a difference like that, it's no surprise that the average price across the GTA is up about 12% to $838,000, and there's only 1.7 months of inventory. And here in Mississauga, we're looking at more of the same. We've got about 400 sales in the month of December, which is up about 9% from December of last year, and the number of sales are down 30% from last year to about 550. So when you add the two together, you get another huge gap of about 39%. So that upward pressure on pricing has given us an 18.5% increase in the average price of a home sold in Mississauga, which is up to just shy of $800,000. All right, it's time for my 6 bold predictions for 2020. Before I get into them, I just want to reiterate that I don't have a crystal ball any more than you do. These are just predictions. Anybody that tells you that they can predict the future with 100% certainty is probably lying to you. So without further ado, here is prediction number 6. Rental prices will go down or at least stay flat. We're going to be delivering a lot of new construction units in particular in the first quarter of 2020. So a lot more supply is going to come to the market. So for those of you that have been out there trying to rent for the last little while, there may be a sigh of relief. I suspect that the prices will go down or stay flat, but I think the steep increase that we've been seeing is going to stop. Number 5, this is going to be a big year for move-up buyers. What I mean is those folks that have had their condo for 4 or 5 years and have generated a lot of equity, they're going to be moving up into townhomes and semis and detached. Here in Mississauga, the price of a condo has gone up 85% over the last 5 years, and people have got a lot of equity in their condos. And now that the gap between a condo and another asset class like a semi or a townhouse is so much smaller than it's been, I think a lot of people are going to start making moves up into bigger asset classes. Number 4, the price of condos are going to level off in Mississauga. Now, I don't mean they're not going to continue to appreciate, but they're going to appreciate in line with the market a little bit more. These years of 20% appreciation and hugely outpacing the market, I think, are over. And the reason for that is, as we just talked about, the gap between a condo and a townhouse is much smaller than it's been. So if you could spend $5,000 or $10,000 more to get a backyard, there's a good chance you're going to do that. So I think that's going to put a little bit of a ceiling over the price of condos. Bold prediction number 3, the Bank of Canada overnight rate will come down to 1.5%. The rate's currently sitting at about 1.75%, but at the last several meetings there's been pressure to lower it, and I think it's going to have to come down at some point in 2020. Generally speaking, when the overnight rate comes down, the bank rates will follow proportionately, which will give folks just a little bit more buying power when they're out getting a mortgage. Prediction number 2, it's going to be a very interesting first 3 to 6 months of 2020. If you look at the conditions that led up to the craziness we had in 2017, they look eerily similar to what's going on right now at the end of 2019 leading into 2020. And we're already seeing all sorts of multiple offer situations across all asset classes and prices. Now, of course, it's a little more prevalent in the units that are under $1 million. I suspect that we're going to see high single-digit to low double-digit increases over the first 3 to 6 months of 2020. And something will happen in the later half of the year to level things out a little bit. It could have to do with the election in the States, or maybe something will change globally, but I suspect we will slow down in the second half of 2020. And finally, my number 1 prediction for 2020, prices across the GTA will appreciate by about 7% across the board, by the end of the year. Now, I'm including all asset classes and all markets that are included on the Toronto Real Estate Board. I think we'll outpace that by a little bit here in Mississauga, something to the tune of 7.5% to 8%. Now, if you look at the last 40 years or so, the average increase across a year has been about 6.5%. And with the tight conditions going into the start of the year, I think we'll outpace that by a little bit, but not by a crazy amount. And finally, a surprise bonus prediction. And here it is, the market is not going to crash, at least not this year. The three pillars that hold up our housing market are all looking very strong. Those pillars are: one, interest rates, which are still historically very low, and I suspect are going to get lower as the year goes on. The second pillar is employment, which is looking very strong. There's a lot of availability for good jobs out there. And the third pillar is immigration, which is also looking very strong. Historically, we've had about 150,000 people, or 50,000 or so households, move into the GTA every year, and we expect more of the same in 2020. Now, with the 50,000 households moving in, we've only been able to create 20,000 or so homes for them. So the supply and demand, it just makes sense that prices will keep going up. And those are my predictions for the year, guys. I'd love to hear what you think is about to happen. Leave your predictions in the comments or flip me an email and let's chat about it. Thanks for watching By the Numbers, and we'll see you in the next video.